Hey, this is Daniel Leas from the band Augustana, and you're at Popularity.
With this album, what was the approach and how did the approach differ from the previous albums?
We approached it in a lot of, we approached it in a lot of different ways. From the songwriting to the production and the performance of the recordings, and down to the mixing and mastering. We were really hands-on and very focused on making sure that we came out with the very best possible outcome. Something that we wanted to do. More importantly than anything, is we wanted to make sure that the songs were right. So we really spent a lot of time writing songs and then really getting the best songs we possibly could. And then the other thing we wanted to do was really capture those songs in sort of very special moments and kind of keep some of the good mistakes that happen when you're recording and have some very real, emotional, spontaneous kind of moments that would sort of resemble a little bit more of our live show, which is a little bit more off the cuff and a little bit more, I think, a little more special than maybe some of the recordings of our previous records.
What decides that the time is right to go into the studio to record an album, or is it more of just an ongoing process?
It depends. This particular record, we kind of knew we were going to take a lot of time to do it. We knew we were going to be, probably buckling down and taking 2 years, maybe 2.5 years to do. We didn't, at times we didn't necessarily want it to take that long, but we kind of had the feeling it might. Just in order to really get, I think sometimes you have to write, 30 songs in order to get 10 really, really good ones, and that's sort of the approach that we took. As far as the timing goes on when to go in, it just depends. Depends on, the label, if they're financing you, approving a producer in a studio and finding the right time for that producer, just all those things.
Do you find that songs come naturally to the band now? Does creating music ever get easier over time?
No, it changes. It goes from song to song. It varies. Sometimes, we had an older song called Boston, 6 or 7 years ago that came really easy. That came in about 20 minutes. Sometimes the song takes 3 months, and you're just sitting there, or maybe you're in the shower and you're thinking about it, or you're not thinking about it, and it just hits you, and you're like, and it's great, and that's it, and you go, okay, well that's the chorus, or that's a really important lyric, or it just really depends on the situation or the song or who's around you at the time when you're sort of writing it. It can all either hurt or help the process.
Is there a song on the album that was really easy to create and also a song that was really difficult?
Yeah, Steal Your Heart is the first track on the record. That was, I'd say, one of the easiest songs to put together as far as from step one to the mixing process. It was spontaneous and fun and exciting and interesting, and we really enjoyed doing it. And it was just, the chorus came really easy and the lyrics came really easy, and it was it was a blast. I would say one of the harder songs is a song called The Wrong Side of Love. That's, I believe, track maybe 4. I don't maybe 2. No, it's the second track on the record. And that one is a little tougher. Went through a lot of variations, a lot of different versions over the last. God, I've had that song for about 3 years now. And we did a bunch of maybe 3, 4, 5 different demos of it with different producers, and we ended up keeping the one that we did with Jakir. It just felt like the most, kind of the truest form of the song, and it felt like the best version of the song.
At this point, what do you value most about the band?
I value a lot. I think we're really fortunate. we were really fortunate to have the opportunity to make a third record, first of all, more than anything. And then also, as far as the personnel in the band, I mean, really fortunate to have a core group of guys that have stuck by my side and stuck with me through thick and thin, through, whether it be difficult times in the band's sort of career or business aspects of things, if we're really low on cash or things aren't going really well and everybody's broke, or, we're always working really hard to try and make it happen and make a good life, for ourselves. Or whether it's, personal, experiences going through that everybody helps each other, helps each other out, and, they're always there for you, and it's a good thing, we've been friends and partners for, going on, I'd say probably 8 years now, so it's a special thing, it's kind of one of those, it's hard to describe unless you've experienced it, I guess. It's kind of like, I'm not in the Army, I've never been to war, but I would assume it's similar to kind of having war buddies, it's sort of, you go out on tour and it's kind of hard to come back and describe to your friends and family exactly how you feel or what happened or, whatever it is over the course of 3 months, always relate to each other, and that's always a special thing.
Can you describe your attraction to music?
Yeah, I mean, I think what initially drew me to it was the fact that I didn't have to think about it. I was never really great at school. I've never really been great at socializing, or making friends, or any of those things. And music kind of always just felt like the easiest thing for me. That and sports, I guess, playing sports. But that's kind of when you find one of those things, like that. If it comes natural to you, and if you're fortunate enough to be able to turn it into, let's say, a career or something that you can, do on a daily basis, that's a really rare thing. And I think that's what initially attracted me to it, was that it just felt natural and easy, and that it just happened. But then through the years, I think it's, one of the things that attracts me to it is being able to, support my family and be able to, do this as a job and still be there for my kids and be there, for my family and be able to live, the kind of life that I always wanted to,
Do you find that when you perform songs that they're evolving or changing with each time you play them? Do songs ever grow?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they grow with you as your life changes. I think they also grow with you as your band changes. Whether you remove certain players or introduce new players on a tour or on a record or a producer or whatever it is. Definitely as you play them live and as your tour develops or as your record develops, the songs definitely evolve with alongside you, and it's always an interesting process to be a part of and to watch, and I really enjoy it. We particularly really enjoy sort of seeking out new avenues to sort of express the song, whether it's playing it really broken down, acoustic around a microphone, or whether it's taking a song that's usually a little bit more kind of rock or whatever, and then kind of making it a little bit more sort of alt country or folk or whatever, just kind of changing it up and trying different things. It always keeps it interesting and kind of keeps your mind sharp,
What drives you more when creating music, change or originality?
I think both. I think going back to the attractive thing about music is the spontaneity of it and the unpredictability of it. Not knowing what's around the corner, not knowing that maybe tomorrow I'm going to write what I think is the best song of my life, or maybe just knowing that it's all kind of inside you and that there's potential to be able to do so many things with it. Or, you know, I think it's always just a really crazy thing if you think about one day this song or this, you know, piece of music never existed, and then 20 minutes later, there it is. It's its own entity, you know, it's its own thing, and that's kind of, it's a really interesting concept, I think, you know.
Did any songs on the album surprise you by taking a different direction than you initially thought that they would?
Well, I think Steal Your Heart definitely took me by surprise in the sense that how naturally it came out, how much, you know, how easy it was to sort of figure out the right direction for it, you know, both sonically and also, you know, lyrically and with the melodies and the concept of the song. You know, I think it definitely surprised me how fluid it was and how enjoyable it was, because that's not always the case. You know, sometimes you're really grinding away and you're stuck on it and you don't know, you know, what the next move is, and you get sort of discouraged and you think, well, maybe it's just not the great of a song, maybe I should just sort of drop it, you know, and move on to the next one.
Who in the band has the most creative mind?
You know, I don't know if any one person has necessarily more to offer, or is more creative. I think everybody brings something to the table that's important in creating an Augustana song, you know, or an Augustana record. It's important to have, you know, the drummer figuring out, you know, and bringing his own drumming style to the song, which can really make or break a song, you know, or a guitar part or backing vocals or whatever it is. You know, I think all those things are really important in creating the mood and the general, you know, direction of a song, you know, and definitely and certainly the production of it and the performance of it.
What first comes to mind when you hear these song titles? First one, Counting Stars.
Champagne Supernova? I don't know. We were, you know, was listening to a lot of, I was having a nice little revival of Oasis in my life at that time again. I was listening to a lot of Oasis, and I was just like, man, we need a song on this record that just has that kind of feel and that kind of flow and that good kind of, you know, sort of ballad feel. You know, I didn't feel like we had anything at that point. We had a lot of really, you know, sort of active, fast-moving, almost, you know, folk rock type songs, and it felt like we kind of need to make sure that we didn't, you know, alienate, you know, listeners or fans of our previous records, you know, and it kind of felt like, okay, well, we don't need another Boston, you know, but maybe let's not, you know, fool ourselves and think that we can just completely step away from the, you know, sort of the original roots of this band, which, you know, does come from bands like, you know, Oasis and Rose, and, you know, those are the bands that we loved growing up, you know.
What about Shot in the Dark?
Yeah, Shot in the Dark's a really important track. I think where it sits in the record is really important lyrically, and also just in the overall concept and flow of the record. I mean, it certainly is. It's very introspective, and it's, you know, it's basically, you know, expressing that, you know, admitting that you're not perfect and you make a lot of mistakes, and, you know, but it's important, you know, when you fall off, you know, pull yourself back up again and try and give it another swing, you know, because there's a lot worth fighting for, and it's, you know, a lot of the record describes exactly what it is that you're fighting for, and I think that song certainly caps off the point that, you know, that it is worth fighting for, that there is, you know, love or a career or your kids or a roof over your head or whatever it is that's, you know, worth, you know, putting all you have into it, you know.
Is there a particular place that the band finds the most creative inspiration?
We find it everywhere. We're not picky. You know, we don't have to go to one particular room or one particular place. You know, this record specifically, we put it together in many different places and in a lot of different ways with a lot of different people. And I think that was something that was necessary and also, you know, interesting about the process was not pinning ourselves down in one place and saying, it has to happen here. The magic has to happen here. And, being open-minded and willing to sort of step out of the box and try different things, use different producers, write with other people and try and find what exactly the best way to, sort of go about a song was.